Hi and welcome to Geekology. I'm David.
And I'm Sven.
And tonight, well, it's dedicating Dave, isn't it? It is. Okay, but for once I actually have a clue what these are.
Yes. So what are they?
They're the ones from the game and I enjoyed the game.
Okay. These are the Combaticons from Transformers Fall of Cybertron, video game that was released on PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 primarily.
Yep, played the 360 version.
It was released on PC as well. And these are basically updates of the Generation 1 Combaticons. So you've got Blast Off, Vortex, Brawl, Swindle and Onslaught.
Okay.
Now, it's an interesting update because they have to update them backwards because these are the characters as before they turned up in G1, even though they were created in G1.
Okay, can we write this packaging down?
Let's do that.
Right, so these were created in G1 and are backwards compatible with
the past. Let's not go there with the whole storylines because this doesn't make it.
Did they meet the Borg?
Something like that.
Okay.
I mean, this is the thing, is that there's so many G1 continuities that it's like, which one are we in now?
Like
so
timeline continuities.
Yeah, just because this is the thing, is there's two continuities from the British comic alone.
Yeah.
Because there's stories that didn't fit in with other stories.
Okay.
So they've got to be in parallel universes. Then you've got the G1 cartoon, which is another parallel universe. Right. And now these games introduced a version of the Generation 1 characters still on Cybertron that involves characters that hadn't been created yet in the other universes.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
I thought Lex was complicated. Okay, all I know is this one was fun to play as.
Yeah.
I like that one.
You enjoyed playing as a tank.
I did.
A loudmouth tank.
Did like playing as a
Can't think why.
No idea.
No, it's not a good match for you at all, is it?
No, funnily enough, now me and you both know that the engine for it was roughly the same. So in theory, they all moved not that dissimilar. But I thought the movability was just easier with that one. Which is ironic because technically it shouldn't have made much difference. Obviously that one flew. But yeah. Okay, so anyway, what are we doing? Because you asked for a craft knife, so I'm assuming we're unboxing. Cool, I like opening toys.
Yes, so this is the Japanese version. We have all 5 characters are basically in the colour scheme that matches the game. Which I think is that's a normal thing, surely. Yeah, the American one didn't.
Okay, that kind of answers the next question because I was going to say, don't get me wrong, toys, woohoo! But Japanese packaging, not normally the first thing I'd want to open. Why aren't we opening the American or English version?
Well, I'm not touching the American ones because the colour scheme is completely different from the game, pretty much. The only one that was close was Brawl.
Why? Surely it's the same toy, just in different packaging.
Nope.
Why did they produce 2 different types of toy?
They didn't. They produced 4.
Okay. Keep this section of educating Dave quick.
Okay.
Why did they do 4?
There was the original American release, which were in colours that didn't match the game. They then did the Japanese version, where the paint tended to be a little bit more metallic and matched the game. There was then the SDCC edition.
Nice.
Yeah. Where they took the American ones,
repainted
them, but I don't think they're metallic, so they're kind of better than the original American releases, but not as good as these ones. Okay. And then there was the Generation 2 release, where they went back to the G1 Combaticons repaint for Generation 2 and used that colour scheme, which was neon bright and required sunglasses to look at.
No idea. Okay.
So let's quickly open these guys up and we'll be back in a moment.
Okay, so you got rid of all the ties.
Yes, so
let's
pop
open
them
these bad boys up.
Yeah, because these are in Japanese packaging, their way of packaging carded stuff is slightly different from Hasbro. And they're a little bit easier to take in and take out and put back in.
Yeah, they use little crampons in there.
Yeah, and you can basically take them back up. Now, this is one thing that might be worth noting to anybody who's collecting Transformers these days, is that some of the carded packaging now, the bubbles are actually taped on rather than being glued on.
Yeah, so you don't have to just
and there's been like reports of people complaining to their retailers going, this is a reseal. No, it's not. It's how it came from Hasbro or Takara.
And that's the way, well, yeah. Makes more sense from a collector's point of view to have one you can actually open and put back.
Quite. So
my Playmate toy Star Trek action figures would be worth a fortune if they'd have thought of that sooner.
Yes, quite. Now there's Blastoff. He was originally a space shuttle, a green space shuttle.
Yeah, he has. I can see that with the shoulders.
Yeah. And this is some kind of space cruiser battle thing.
I've got the plastic on that.
Okay. That's Vortex. Shockingly, helicopter, as he was in.
Yes, because that's the exact technology that a race of space-faring robots would come up with.
Are you saying they didn't have their own Galileo?
Yeah, nothing. Oh great, I've got Queen's Greatest Hits running through my head. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it's alright, nobody loves you. You're just a poor boy from a poor family.
And I'm not telling you what I spent my life on. Oh, that is beautiful.
I mean, that was in G1, he was a green tank, shockingly. Overall.
I like this.
Swindle. He was originally a yellow Jeep. Well, yellowy orangey Jeep. Mustard colour. Whatever you want to call it.
Well, yeah.
He was the one you would have been driving around in when you were under that.
Yeah.
Crawler.
Right. What's the retail on this?
Oh, now.
Timber!
I said Simba. You heard it. The retail would have translated to about £25 to £30 each.
Oh.
Well, they're Japanese. They tended to be.
Okay, what's the American version?
About £15.
Okay, 15 quid, yeah, at the full Japanese. Hell no. Well, maybe for the tank. It's very, very lightweight.
But they're only
The
deluxes.
hit points look good though. Paints is, well, I was going to say paint, but you know, the colour scheme running out the plastics is good. Paint is nice on some of these.
Yeah.
The
I mean, this is the thing is
the logos are incredibly well done
Yeah.
for a toy so small.
This is the thing is the American UK versions. Well, I didn't really do a kind of release in the UK.
Yeah.
They didn't have any metallic paint or anything. They were just basic plastic with some paint apps. So it's not.
Yeah, but these look great.
So not really comparable for value wise, because in Japan everything's more expensive anyway because their standard of living is so much higher. So, but because everything is more expensive, they tend to spend more money on paint applications and
making it look right.
Yeah, I mean a good example of that, for instance, at the moment is Combiner Wars Devastator. Combiner Wars is actually Transformers Generation's current iteration, whereas this is Generation's Fall of Cybertron stuff, and there was other Generation stuff around it. Always Combiner Wars, which, as you can imagine, primarily combiners. And they've announced Devastator, which is coming out in the States around about now. It's out in Australia, where they've done a Titan-sized Devastator. So the 6 parts that make him up are all Voyager-sized figures. So if they were sold separately, it'd be about £25 each. Yeah. And all 6 combined to form Devastator. About there. He's almost as tall as Metroplex. So what's quite cool about that is that they announced the American version. There's an STCC version with a slightly different head and metallic paint. And then Takara unveiled theirs, and it was just cunning because it was done at Tokyo Toy Show, which was the same weekend as BotCon.
Always nice.
Yeah. And they unveiled their version where each of the individual figures will come with their own gun, which the American one doesn't have. And some of the figures that didn't have elbows in the American version now have elbows for the Japanese version, so they can actually pose properly. Now there's going to be a premium for that, but there was going to be anyway because it's a Japanese edition.
Yeah.
The question is how much does that translate to if they come over here? Because there's no clarification on whether it's going to be released here officially through Toys R Us. Because let's face it, I mean, this is the thing, when we got Metroplex, we had Metroplex with his voice taken out and just with sound effects.
Yeah.
Devastator isn't electronic, so if we get him, it'll be the same as the American version. But that's if we get it. And importing that, it's a big box. It's a lot of postage. So if you are after one of them, Kapow's probably your best bet.
Yeah.
But
Well, we like the boys over at Kapow.
Yeah. But they're doing the Takara one as well, because Takara's version of Transformers Generations Combiner Wars is Transformers Unite Warriors. So, and they're doing things like with the other Combiner figures that have come out for it. In the States, they're doing things like they did Superion, and one of his arms, I think it was one of his arms, was swapped out for a different character, and they introduced the original character later on. And in Japan, they've basically done it as the original 5 characters to make up Superion. And then with, for instance, Defensor, in the States, they did Groove, who was a bike, slightly more to scale, and did him as a Legends figure, so he can't be a limb. But in Japan, they designed their own figure to go with it, so it's more like the original version of the character. So that was quite cool. So Groove is a bike and one of the feet.
Right. So come on then, break these down and then build them up.
Okay, right. Onslaught Commander. He forms the torso of the Bruticus robot. You can already tell.
Yeah.
It's Bruticus's head hiding in his chest and his back. In Generation 1 he turned into a missile truck type thing with a double cannon on top. There's his double cannon. It's somewhat smaller than G1 version, so we'll transform in a minute and compare them all transformed in a sec. Swindle, he was a Jeep. He's now a sort of like multi-terrain.
An all-terrain vehicle,
thing,
yeah. Armoured all-terrain vehicle.
Yeah. Get his head, just like with Onslaught, the head very much reminiscent of the original character as they originally appeared. Brawl, Loudmouth, was actually, the character actually turned up originally in War for Cybertron as Loudmouth Brawler, shockingly. And now the rest of his teammates joined him for Fall of Cybertron.
Yeah.
So you could actually, I think you could
I have to say, right off the get-go, that
the paint, really. This is the thing, is they haven't really changed the colour, but they have given him the metallic in comparison with the American version, and it pops, I mean, it really pops. And again, the head, very reminiscent of the original character, even though the original character's head was all grey. And he had it crushed in the comic by Megatron, because Megatron just lost it at one point because Optimus Prime got killed. He hadn't done it, he didn't like it, and started going around, mutilating people.
Everything.
Yeah. Vortex. Bless you.
At time of recording, the pollen count is ridiculously high.
This is true, and we're also on a severe weather warning for
everything.
thunder, lightning,
very
hail,
frightening. Yeah.
Hail, and I particularly enjoy this for the British Isles. We're under a severe weather warning for isolated tornadoes. Whatever the hell that means. Isolated.
It's a tornado that's not allowed near its
friends. It's like having a vortex suddenly appearing out of nowhere.
No, it's just not allowed near its friends.
Yeah. Vortex was an attack helicopter in G1. He was basically grey and green, and this is obviously a completely different colour scheme for him, but it seems to work. So again, their head very, very similar. And then Blastoff, who was a military space shuttle, which in itself makes no sense, which is why the Bruticus that's coming out in Combiner Wars, he's been turned into a jet fighter.
Okay.
Kind of makes a little bit more sense, but you know when the Japanese version's unveiled, it's going to be back to being a space shuttle again. And I'm trying to wreck it, yes! I love the fact that they've got that now. You can just like whip off the legs. Head on this one's a bit more intriguing, slightly more interesting than just the G1 head with bits on. They've given a bit more moulding to it rather than just the block head that was on the others. But yeah, quite a lot of detail on that. And what we'll do, they've all got separate weapons there, and what we'll do is we'll transform them into vehicle mode and check it out there. Right, so here we are in vehicle mode. Blastoff. Looking distinctly not like a space shuttle. But
actually, should I just... What does this remind you of?
Yeah.
Every game from the late 80s, early 90s.
Yes, quite. There we have Vortex. Yeah, I don't think this fits together quite as well as it should. I think these are all suffering a little bit from. You remember when we did Sideswipe?
Yeah.
Yeah, where it seems to be an American mould that's then had nice paint put over the top, which make it
doesn't
not
fit.
quite fit as well.
Mind you saying that, can I just...
Yeah.
Oh, come on, it does.
Yes. And now tanks.
I can still do it.
It's a hover tank, you know, so... Yeah.
We don't drink in between takes.
I don't. But, you know, these are all Cybertronian vehicle modes, so all-terrain,
I won't do it.
shooty thing, all-terrain, shooty thing, that's kind of...
The worst of all vehicles in its vehicle mode.
I don't know what the hell that's even supposed to be, because it's nothing like the G1 version, and I'm just like... Did we just throw some shapes together and hope it worked?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, come on then. Let's get up into the next stage.
Okay, no problems. Right, let's make the torso first. Yeah.
Okay. Sven, I have to say, the gun is ridiculous.
Oh yeah, completely.
It's a gun on top of a gun strapped into a gun with knives added to it. I mean...
Doesn't work.
No, and this is only any good for shooting the enemy in the crotch as you go to shake their hand. And I have to say, from a strategic battle point of view, I can think of a couple of places where one hand grenade is going to wipe this thing out.
Yeah.
I think they didn't think this one all the way through.
Yeah. And when you turn it around and you suddenly realise...
Oh, it looks hideous on the back.
Nothing here.
It's missing half.
Yeah.
It's, yeah. The legs are just too chunky. Wouldn't you put the more delicate ones at the... I don't know.
It's kind of poseable, but not in a particularly I want to pose it way. Things
I've got to give it its due though. I think the torso looks very good from the front.
Yeah, that's because its vehicle mode looked bloody awful, so they can do that.
The gun is just ridiculous.
Yeah, let's get rid of that. That's just...
Please get rid of that. It really is distracting. I mean, that is... You know what? Actually, you know, without the blades... There you go. That's better looking.
Honest God.
Could these be stuck on somewhere else? You can put one on there in case you need to punch. So is there somewhere on this side that can kind of get one in? There you go, look. That makes a bit more sense.
But yeah, there was a lot of criticism for this when it came out. Can't think why.
I think I've got an idea, Sven.
Yeah.
I actually know kind of the gun there because that would interfere with his deflective blade armour.
Yeah.
There's normally a point on the shoulders for you to mount extra weapons.
But it's not exactly brilliant. In comparing it with a Generation 1 one, it's just, no.
Can we fold away this leg?
Because that stops his foot from being out.
Oh.
Yeah. That's not great, is it?
It's a children's toy.
I can see why people went mental. Didn't.
What was it meant to look like this?
It doesn't look like Bruticus to me. There's elements of Bruticus to it, but it doesn't look like Bruticus.
Well, the arms look really chunky. There's no elegance, no finesse, no subtlety to this. It's pretty much...
But let's face it, there was enough, complaints about it for third parties to do, well, that.
Okay. I take it it's extra add-on bits to make this thing look more civilised.
Yeah, and basically makes it a bit more, I assume a bit more Bruticus-like.
Are we going to crack this one open?
Yeah, some of the parts merge to form a trailer for Onslaught, which we won't be doing tonight because that's just an excuse to cobble the parts together, to be fair.
Okay.
Alright,
well let's take this one up and see what it looks like.
Yeah. Now here we are with the X-Transbox kit added to it, which basically gives it the new feet. There's several new weapons that have been added on to it as well, including the double cannon at the back, with a special bracket piece to hold that in place, and a pair of wheels which would be part of the trailer for Onslaught in vehicle mode.
Yeah.
As well as that, are bracket parts that fit inside both Vortex and Blastoff and allow the new fists to be put on.
Which means you can have shorter arms.
Yeah, and then they're shorter arms as well because you've basically been able to fold them up to allow that to happen rather than fold them out to get the weird looking fists off.
And there was an extra cannon in case you didn't want the hand.
Basically you can take the hand off there, pop that on instead.
I have to say I actually think it's better with the hand.
Yeah, quite. I mean that's basically just big cannon-y thing, but yeah, let's keep it with the hand. There we go.
But it is an amazing difference with the add-on kit.
Completely. I mean, you weren't too happy with the chest plate, were you?
I don't like the chest plate. I think it distracts from the... But didn't you say that's very indicative of the original story?
I mean, the original Bruticus, the entire chest down to the pelvis was one big plate.
Right.
So that does make a lot of sense and does give it a sort of like G1-ness to it.
Actually, you know what? Okay, there's a lot of plus points to the add-on kit.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with the hands. They're really well crafted, but more importantly, they do let you shorten the arm, which gives the figure more proportion. It certainly puts it in line. The back cannon adding the illusion of extra height, I think works. But for me, the big bonus for this particular add-on kit, I know you like all the extra weapon pieces because they do it, but it's these feet plates.
Yeah, they make
purely because they really alter the proportion of the leg, because before you had all this bulk on this leg, and additionally it's meant that you've been able to raise the cannon up here so that it's actually in line rather than sticking out at a strange angle. I think the colour match job on it is fantastic, and you said to me whilst we were looking at it that they did colour matches for all of the
they basically did. I mean, this is obviously the Takara version. There was a set that was done for the Hasbro version of the Combaticons release. There was a version for the SDCC set, which I'm pretty sure was released, and there was also a version for the Generation 2 paint job version. But I'm not entirely convinced that got released. I've never seen one.
Okay.
But it was certainly announced. I don't know if it's something that's still to come, to be honest.
The neon set.
Yeah, neon set, yeah.
Okay.
So, but I think this very much illustrates what a third-party add-on kit for an official product should be.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, it essentially elevates it up from the toy that was released, let's be honest,
as a toy,
aimed as kids, as a toy, though it was tying in with a video game and therefore probably, and part of Generations, and therefore probably caught the eye of adults a bit more than it did the kids. It changes that set of toys
to an adult
collectible completely, and gives it that air of well, a little more distinction, shall we say.
No, well, it's fair enough. I'd agree with that. Now, the base figure without the add-on kit is the Japanese one's what, 125 all combined up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much is the add-on kit?
It went for about 50, maybe a little bit more. But then it was done in very small numbers.
Yeah. Shipped around the world.
Shipped around the world. You're talking about basically a completely new tooling that must have cost some money to get put together.
And the colour matching.
And the colour matching, yeah. I mean, this is the thing is they must have been really careful on how they were doing that. And it's essentially it's like buying a Star Trek sort of like garage kit.
Yeah, it's a garage. Yeah,
it's going to be incredibly expensive.
So no, this is tricky, and thank God I no longer have to do it. How would you score it?
Okay. The original Takara set of the 5 figures with the combination that looks nothing like Bruticus from the game, I would give a 5 out of 10 too.
Okay.
Because considering each individual figure was £25.
Is it mainly the cost that you're scoring that so low?
And the fact it's not successful in combined form.
Okay.
4 out of the 5 figures I have no problem with as a robot mode or as a vehicle mode.
The chest one is ridiculous.
The chest one is ridiculous in vehicle mode. That's just a mess of a vehicle. I mean, Onslaught is fine in robot mode. I don't have a problem with him in robot mode, but that vehicle mode is clearly just a cobbled together mess so they can get away with him being the torso of this.
Yeah.
The Hasbro version gets another mark off because
Colour?
the colour's wrong. It doesn't look like anything you did in the game, which is what it's supposed to be from. The SDCC one will probably be the same score as the Takara one, because at least they fixed the colours to a degree, but it wasn't quite the same. But
and Neon?
Neon one, it does what it says on the tin. It's kind of, it was the G2 colour scheme.
So it should really score around about the same?
It's around about the same, yeah.
Okay.
Now, the add-on kit,
it's
a lot of money for what it is when you're comparing it with toys.
Okay.
But it does what it says it does, and it makes a massive difference. It basically takes an embarrassment.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one.
And turns it into a displayable figure you're quite happy to have in your collection.
Your collection, yes. I'm quite happy to have this in
as someone who has toys from the Transformers video games.
Okay.
Specifically, that is displayable. As it was before, is most definitely not.
Okay, here's a tricky one. How would you score it as one piece with the add-on kit?
Okay, well, I'll give the add-on kit a 7. It would have got an 8 or 9 if it was a bit cheaper. But there's not a lot they could do about the price, let's be honest. So, I can't really rap on them too much for that. I mean, I like computers that are £2,000, even though you could get a more powerful one just because it's something unique. I would give the entire set together, bearing in mind the cost, because you're looking at a figure.
175 quid.
Yeah, you're looking at a figure that's in advance of the vast majority of masterpiece figures that have been released, including the big ones.
And the masterpiece is really
nice.
Even I love the masterpiece ones.
I mean, if this could be picked up for 125 even, it'd be as a full set. That would be a lot more acceptable. At 175, 6 out of 10.
Okay.
It's a reasonable set once you've got the add-on kit. It's not epic, it's not brilliant, but it's displayable, it's decent enough. I've got a feeling some people are going to disagree with me.
Actually, you know what?
Got a lot of love.
If anybody does disagree with you, take him in the comments below. I love it when people rip into him. Take him in the comments below.
One thing I haven't pointed out yet, you see this tail part here?
Yeah.
That was in that part of the add-on kit that actually make Vortex look like he wasn't in the game.
Oh, okay.
Because he didn't have these tails and tail parts originally. So yeah, I'll point that out. But yeah, I'm pleased I've got it. I'm not pleased how much it cost in the long run. And very big thank you to Ben from Ben's Collectibles here on YouTube.
Oh yes, we like Ben's Collectibles.
Yes, because he
Ben
made
and Kapow every episode. It's Ben and Kapow.
Ben's Collectibles and Kapow, both epic. Ben,
and they'll be at Auto Assembly.
Yes, they're both. I believe they're both at Auto Assembly. I know Kapow will be. I'm pretty sure Ben will be. Hopefully, fingers crossed. And thanks to Ben, I didn't have to pay the going rate for it for the add-on kit. So yeah, that's quite nice to have. And this will be going next to my Thrilling 30. The Thrilling 30's Metroplex, because essentially to me he's the Fall of Cybertron Metroplex anyway, and the rest of my Fall of Cybertron toys. So yeah, that makes sense. On top of my monitor area. So yes, absolutely. Yeah, you pay your money, you take your choice. It's one specifically for the Fall of Cybertron collectors and pretty much nobody else. I'd imagine.
No one else. Well, if anybody does disagree, they can always comment below, or they can come talk to us at Auto Assembly. I say talk to us, talk to you. I want people talking to me about beer and those Kiss Play figures, because I quite like
with a bit of Star Trek and maybe the odd game of Cards Against Humanity. Yeah,
it's going to be alcohol in a bar. Of course, there's going to be Cards Against Humanity. In the rebooted universe, what is Optimus Prime's new transforming ability? Yeah, that's going to be a good one.
I'm going to need another set of cards. Just write out some more blank ones.
And of course, the one I'm really looking forward to, First Contact Day 2016.
Yeah,
that one's going to rock.
Pretty cool.
Also in 2016, I'll be at the Terry Pratchett event, and I'll be doing some recording there.
If you remember the camera.
I will remember the camera and the disclosure forms and everything else. Right, well, you can subscribe to us here on YouTube. You can follow us on both Facebook and Twitter. And of course, there is the official Geekology website. Well, thank you for watching and good night.
Bye.
You're opening Japanese releases?
Yeah.
That's unusual.
Why? What's the point of having them if you're not going to open them? What? No.
Bubble, because it's bubble packing. I'm not normally.
It's Japanese bubble packaging.
We need to re-edit. Sorry, stuff. Yeah.